So you are welcome. This is my healthy food place where we share ideas and recipes on how you can stay healthy naturally. So today I want to share a secret food that helps me whenever diarrhea tries to strike. Now, so many talks and sessions had gone on constipation, and constipation is more frequently talked about. It also occurs even more frequently than diarrhea. And what actually is diarrhea? Diarrhea is when I describe it in my own way as any time that your gut balance loses its grip, or when your gut loses its balance completely in such a way that the stool could no longer be formed before coming out. And so in that case, the person begins to, you're welcome, the person begins to go to the toilet more frequently. And this occurs not too often. There are several causes of diarrhea. It occurs more frequently in children. And there are over-the-counter medications that could be used in the case of little children. But thank you for the right. But in the case of another person, you're welcome. But it's going to be a quick one. I'm not going to be long. I want to just tell us so that, as you come in, just comment, let me know you are in and that you have access, and we are working together because it's going to be a very quick one. It's not going to be long unless you decide to keep me here. Yes, you're welcome, Georgiana. I'm glad to have you. Yes, I have to work on this setting this time around. So, like I said, so many topics have been had in the past on constipation and remedies, but not often do we talk about diarrhea. And diarrhea is actually common. You're also welcome, Deacon Innovations. Good job, Ma. Thank you for that comment. So diarrhea rarely occurs in older adults, but honestly, when it occurs, it's more life-threatening. Because whenever it occurs, it's actually the person have lost the balance internally. And in the hospitals, mostly it's treated as an emergency. Because if nothing is done, it won't be long. The electrolyte balance will be completely out of control. And the person could even die before they break. That is how serious diarrhea is. Yes, that is how serious diarrhea is. But I often detest it. And if there is any remedy that will make an older adult to go to stool too frequently, I do not recommend it. Like purgatives, I think purgatives is even an old-fashioned idea, because over time they have realized that purgatives it's not a modern day way of removing waste from your body. They say go and take something and purge yourself and just purge. So you purge out everything. The body has a natural way to remove its waste. It knows how to do it best. And when the toxins are too much, the body just have a way of throwing them out. But when you try to assist, that is not very good. And the point I want to quickly make here is that whenever the older adult wants to lose, when the diarrhea wants to start, it always gives a signal. And I'm going to tell you what I normally do. And it has always worked. And why it became necessary to share it. I don't know why I've never shared it with you people, you know. Why I decided to share it, that is this one is because it happened just recently. And I thought, why don't I share this thing with my people? It's been working for me. So that is why you need to pay attention. So the diarrhea, as a matter of fact, comes to the older adults, starting sometimes when we are trying to, you know, work on ourselves, maybe uncontrolled diarrhea. We shouldn't even allow it to stop. And that's where I'm going now. Once it gives that signal, that is when we will take this remedy. It's a popular something we all know about, but I just don't want to, quickly let the cat out of the bag. You see, whenever sometimes there are occasions when it occurs. I'll tell you some of these occasions when those diarrhea does occur. Sometimes when we are trying to lose weight and consuming a lot of spices and seeds, a lot of foods, maybe herbal concoctions. Maybe somebody recommended it to us, or maybe we read about it, we found it somewhere, or somebody told us this thing can cleanse your system and it's going to work. It worked for me. I used it. It cleansed me. I was fine. And these are some of the occasions when we go to try such remedies and the person says, okay, take it and go and try it. And you not knowing that your own system is different. Your own gut health and gut environment is different from his or her own. And then you go home, and by the time you take it, the stomach loses its balance. And this often occurs when we go for several of these bitters that people go for. I'm always afraid to go for them. They say, take it, it will cleanse you. Once you take it, it cleanses off everything. And some of those marketing ideas and, tips makes you, want to go for it. And it's risky. I must also tell us it's risky to go for those herbal concoctions. A lot of people are desperate to make money. And by the time it is taken now, suddenly you just hear boom. It's like a key is used to unlock something. It gives you the first sign that all is not well. You will agree with me, my dear. Once it gives you that first boom, that is, and maybe you go to the toilet, the first one, it may be much, that's the first one. And then the second time, it makes as if, that you will feel it. Our body is so unique. The brain will give you a signal that something is getting out of balance, is getting out of hand. Everywhere will be notified. That is just how it works. God is so wonderful in this aspect. Everywhere will be on alert. Why? Because they want to save you. That is exactly why the alert is being sent. They want to make sure you are not dead before you get. So the brain alerts you that something is about to get out of hand. So the stomach will make boom. Like that. That sound. You know that all is not well. You go to the toilet. First one, maybe it's plenty and you are happy. When the second one locks and you go, and the third one, the stomach started making sound, guru, 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 guru. That is the balance is getting lost. But you wouldn't allow it to get lost. Once you go the first one and it's much, as an adult, and you keep cold pressed coconut oil. Don't need to take your time. So that I tell you what I've been doing for years, it's been working for me. Cold pressed coconut oil, just have it in your home all the time. It's not for marketing purpose, it's what has been doing. It's not, pap won't even be okay if you're diabetic. If you start drinking pap, people say when they are having diarrhea, they drink pap. It won't work for older adult. If you're diabetic and you're experiencing such a thing, such a signal that you want to experience diarrhea and you go for pap, it's not going to be, it's going to affect your sugar. It's going to complicate the issues. So once you hear it, before you, it gets running, it turns to water, complete water. Once you have gone the first one and the second one, and you are okay, that at least these ones have gone out, I'm okay now, let my body be like this. And but anything outside of that, your electrolyte is going out and your life is already on the line. The salt, the sugar is going out as you are going. And some people even collapse in the toilet if nothing is done because of this electrolyte issue. The sugar, the salt, everything, the calcium, they are rushing, going out immediately as those water are going. Any medical person knows what I'm saying. And that's why they normally, even for children and for certain, they prepare this oral hydration and whatever for people to get their strength. But we won't get to that. Once you get that first signal and the first waste goes out and the second one goes out, and you know that you wouldn't like that the third one to come, because once the more you go, the more watery it becomes, and the more watery it becomes, the more you lose your strength. The more watery it becomes, the more frequent you go, and the more frequent you go, the more you lose your energy because the electrolytes are going out. You begin to lose your strength. It's very life-threatening. Anybody who has experienced diarrhea before knows that it's more life-threatening. So what you ought to do is that you just take a teaspoon of cold-pressed coconut oil immediately and drink it immediately. The saturated fat in coconut oil is so powerful. Some of the I'll soon end this session. Some of the things that contributes to that losing of balances, sometimes bacteria contribute, sometimes yeast, candida contributes, sometimes several other things contribute. But once I take the coconut oil, it stops. Even if it's typhoid, if it's whatever, once you take ulcers could cause sudden diarrhea, and before you know, the person is bleeding and other complications. And so once it happens, I remember a case some years back when I first got introduced, and not really introduced because I can't remember anybody introducing me, except I was just doing my own studies and research on various things that works, and that was how I was able to discover coconut oil, cold pressed. And so I remember one occasion some years back when I was so sick that I collapsed, almost fell down because of diarrhea. And it was those years of ignorance when typhoid and all kinds of things were, before you know it, they said the person died of typhoid, and that typhoid had perforated intestine, and all these talks made us so much afraid, even though no matter what, we also want to be alive. So we fear grips a lot of us, who were always being treated of typhoid. And so I remember one occasion that, the diarrhea just came like that. What did I eat? I actually consumed this oha soup. I don't know how to describe that soup, but oha soup in the night, maybe it was late. And I later learned that it's not a friend of malaria, because I was having that thought that it may be some sign of malaria. I was always sick then. So I remember then I had already started gradually on coconut oil. Anyone, even if you don't have cold pressed, anyone you have, but cold pressed is the best. So I remember one incident that it happened. I almost gave up, but I just managed to drag to where the coconut oil, nobody was at home, only myself. Grabbed it and opened it and drank it and lay down there. It was as serious as that. I lay down, almost gone, and allowed the saturated fat in the coconut oil to go seal up all those places. And they give me energy, because that's the work of saturated fat. Helps kill off some bacteria and help me. But when I took it, I had to wait, lie down on the floor, and allowed it to permeate the cells and work, because the stomach will be so tender that you can't even move. But you should not allow it to get to that point before you go for this remedy. It works, my dear. Always have it at home. If I may say some forms of diarrhea, but all the times I've had a challenge with something that looked like diarrhea, it has always been effective for me to stop it from going further. Because we need knowledge, knowing that it has saturated fat and antibacterial properties. Because even if you go to the hospital, the first thing they will give antibiotics. If you're having, because they will suspect it's bacteria that is causing it, they will give you antibiotics to destroy those bacteria, and then maybe give you antifungals too. Some of us know Flagyl. There are some cases when people take Flagyl, it's still okay when starting forms. There are some that are caused by unknown causes, certain things that you don't know. In such cases, you can. But most of the times, I have, if it is ones that naturally occurred by either overspicing my food or stress or some other things, the cold pressed coconut oil, taking it, and it's only just one dose I normally take. One dose. I don't have to take it like for 3 days. Just one dose. Almost a table, it won't get up to a tablespoon, but if you feel like taking a tablespoon, fine. But because I'm always also afraid of the saturated fat, but I normally take like 1 cupful. On some occasions when there's no even strength. Diarrhea is so life-threatening, my dear. Even when you don't, sometimes when there is no even strength to move about, to go get some things, or maybe you're alone, like in the case of the story I told us. If you're alone, what do? You just, once you get that signal, you start looking for your coconut oil and get it around. Get it somewhere around you. In case the stooling begins to go beyond what you expected or what you think you can take, the brain will definitely give you those signs that all is not well, because there is a direct relationship between our guts and our brain. And so when it happens, you quickly get it around and keep it. It's not, in all cases, people will tell you, take Gary. Yes, Gary is good. Fermented. These are, options that are okay for middle age and certain people. Say, take Gary. I know that fermented Gary is good too. But I tell you, when you are talking of people with special health concerns, you don't have to be talking of Gary. If you're managing an ailment or you're diabetic or you are about certain other health, you don't have to be talking of grains to use it at that particular time, because all the grains will not have the antibacterial properties. The grains will not have, and they will supply some form of carbohydrates, because they also contain carbohydrates in order Fermented millet works over time, but is best for prevention. Take note of this thing. I'm telling you practically. Fermented millet, fermented sorghum, bicolor, fermented whatever, works as a prevention. You take it occasionally, once in a while, to strengthen the gut health, to equip it to prevent such, diarrhea, controllable diarrhea from coming up. But whereby you undertake some things or do some things in excess, and the thing strikes, the diarrhea strikes, some of those things we use may not actually help. And when it comes, it's always difficult, my dear, to find something. You will just search around, you wouldn't see anything that will, calm it, stop it. Nothing. Bread will make it worse. But at an early age, as a young man, a young lady, people will tell you, eat bread. You will have constipation. The diarrhea will stop. Some people will say, eat rice, eat this. But for older adults, for diabetics, for those with special health concerns, you don't have to eat those things, because they will take you back from the for the level, the points you have covered successfully. When you take those things, they are definitely going to, take you back. And so in order to avoid those taking back, the grounds you have already covered, you're going to lose it if you go for those things. So you don't need to go for them. You need to go for cold pressed coconut oil. It's not going to give you sugar. It's not going to clog your arteries. It's going to come with bacteria fighting, unique bacteria fighting properties to stop it. It's been working. I effectively applied it last week. And when I saw how effective it worked, I said, okay, since this thing has been working, why haven't I shared it? Over the years, it's been working. When you try to take this, like some of us who have all this, you put this, you put that, maybe you are trying to fight constipation. And sometimes you don't give enough time. These are some of the conditions or cases that make such a thing to happen. And the cases, like in some of the cases that I've already explained or gone through, when you are trying to tackle constipation and you apply this, you take this, you take that, and sometimes you do not give enough time for the ones we took to work. Some of the things takes time to go break down the stool that had been stuck for a long time. And so because sometimes we are in a hurry, we just want the thing to stop, to stop, and then you put too much. And so when it begins to work, the gut health loses its balance. The other one is working, this one is working. I'll give you an example. For instance, if you go take something like fenugreek seed and you prepare it like I do take the oil, then after taking it, you now went and took apple cider, for instance. Giving instances when such things could occur. Apple cider, you add it to your lemon water, and maybe you even have lemon around. You take it too. Or let's put the lemon aside. And after taking, you now say, okay, this moringa seed. I heard that moringa seed is good for constipation. You now go ahead and chew maybe up to 4 or 5 and take water. You've already taken excess, and it's going to create this type of life-threatening situation for you. And so in such a case, that is where coconut oil becomes very helpful. It is then you will appreciate the noise and all this, all the repetitions and all the talks that I have been doing about coconut oil, cold pressed coconut oil. You need to have it at home all the time. For older adults, situations that appears that nothing is working, you can't just go soak garri, take bread, take what others are taking. You just take it and allow it time. Relax, even if you're weak. If it was ulcer, it's going to settle it. If you are weak, it's going to give you some levels, some strength to stand up. And it's not going to spoil anything because it does not clog arteries. It's going to destroy bacteria and going to, support the cell wall, the cell membrane. Sometimes they lost their integrity. They just get, out of control. And so the saturated fat, a high content of that saturated fat helps to give them some integrity, some strength to stay. My dear, it does much more than this. I will not want to stay for too long. If you have any comments, you do that quickly because I'm going to be, going out of this. As I promised us, it's not meant to be a very long one, but just to drop this message and this tip, as I've said. There are several other things I've said about cold pressed coconut oil in the past, and I think some of us can go back and read it, listen to it, but this one is one of the uncommon ways that it works, and it's been working for me. And you need to keep it around you, because when those days comes, when those time when the diarrhea comes, it doesn't give notice. You wouldn't know. So, and the cold press is not something you run about to the pharmacy quickly and take. It's not something, except few people, but it's not something you get easily. And so it's important to always have it around. It can actually save life-threatening situations, sometimes posed by unexpected diarrhea. Some of these diarrhea are worsened, sponsored by some bacteria, and it's able to destroy a good number of them and restore your health without resorting to any form of medication. Don't need to take it for long, just once. That is how I take it. But there is nothing wrong too if you take it there is also nothing wrong if you take it the next morning you can decide to take it again, just to boost what has happened already. You see, I'm so happy for this knowledge of cold pressed coconut oil. It does wonders before now. I take bitter leaf water and it stops the running tummy. Okay, now I'm also glad that you mentioned it. Just like I said, there are several things that people have been using to stop the running stomach. But I'm telling you, you know that bitter leaf has antibacterial properties. Yes, it has antifungal properties too. But what it doesn't have is saturated fats. And so if you try it, having acquired this knowledge, I don't normally use bitter leaf. Bitter leaf is also good because most of these things are made worse by bacteria. And so the bacteria will sponsor it. The bitter leaf has that too. But there are some diarrhea that are also caused some bitter leaf can cause diarrhea too. It has happened to me. And I've also attended to people that it happened to. And how did it happen? Now, I'll tell you how bitter leaf can cause diarrhea. It actually happened when after my first child, I was so big that people were saying I'm so fat, that I need to lose weight, and I needed to return back to work. So people said, then I hadn't known all this or been talking about this. He said, bitter leaf will do it. Bitter leaf will do it. I think what it actually did, I vomited a lot. I vomited. I think I'm trying to mix it up. It wasn't really stooling, but I also went to toilet more, but it wasn't. What actually was more was that vomiting was more, and it's not good. So how did I do it? I went and washed the bitter leaf based on what, I didn't even wash it like that. And that's why I've always been preaching about washing it to take out some of the acid. It almost took my life, and I've heard more than 3-4 persons who told me that it almost took their life too. I mean bitter leaf. So just take it like the person said, they was told, don't do it, just take it like that, let the bitter and grind it or blend or drink it, 1 glass. It's dangerous to be taking all those advices that have not been tested. So I went and said, I want to lose weight fast before I go back to work, I resume work. I want to lose all this weight, those breastfeeding weight everywhere was just dangling. So when I prepared it, it was like in excess. I'm happy you are confirming it, that some people also experience running stomach. Now, I will tell you why they experience those running stomach. You are keeping me here. You are the one who are keeping me here. So, why they experience running stomach in some cases is that the stomach actually was already short of fat, healthy fats. And so when the problem occurred, which is always the case, so when the problem occurred, instead of bringing in healthy fats to pamper the cells and to pamper you went and brought something harsh. You know that bitter leaf is harsh. Let's be honest. It contains some acids. And what actually nearly took my life that day was the acids. And I've always been crying out that people should always wash it. There are dangerous acids inside bitter leaf. Go do your own study, independent research on it. You will see you will confirm what I'm saying. It has very dangerous acids that can kill somebody instantly on the spot. It has happened to me. And I told us the instance that it happened. I was trying to use it to lose weight so many years ago. After having my child, I thought people were saying I'm too fat. I was breastfeeding. I stopped breastfeeding and the fat was too much. Just 7 or 8 months after childbirth, I couldn't wait for the weight to go down. I wanted to force it. And maybe the stomach was still tender after childbearing. And I started with bitter leaf as I was wrongly told. And it almost claimed my life. And so it's good to share some of these things so that experiences, some of us, we just know that when okay, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. It's only that my battery is not so loaded like that. That's why I actually said I must do it. My battery is not so loaded. So as long as you keep me, I'm ready to stay. I regretted what happened in the last one. I didn't load data well, and then I forgot that the one I loaded was gone already, and then the setting was not okay like that, and I'm so sorry about that. But honestly speaking, the bitter leaf is good on some occasions, but if it's not what your body needed, it could cause running stomach. And so it happened to me. I've had like 2-3 cases that people actually was almost taken off because of bitter leaf water. And they were trying to use it as they were guided, advised. They were actually trying to use it as they were advised. And what happened was not pleasant. They almost lost their lives too. And anytime I have opportunity, I share these experiences so that we don't take bitter leaf for granted. I've had an elderly woman who was alone in the house trying to use it to lower sugar. She almost died too. And she shared the experience with me. When I was telling her about bitter leaf so many years ago, she confirmed that what I'm saying is true. That bitter leaf is not something you just take like that. That she took it one time, they say it will lower sugar, it will do this. She almost died, but God saved her. Because at one point she had to vomit. The thing came to her chest and she has to started vomiting everything. And all the bitter leaf water she drank, she vomited everything. And she was later on okay. And after that day, she vowed never to go to bitter leaf again. She vowed never to go there, even in small amount. She said, no, they go. I said, Mommy, it works, it's good for this. No, no. So I'm okay with the one I took. So she said she's okay. She never tried to go back, even whether in moderation or whatever, because of her experience with the bitter leaf. And so I actually always tell people that don't just read something on internet that bitter leaf does this, it does that, and you just go and do it. Always be guided. There are very dangerous acids there. And I actually was a victim myself. But the one that I can tell you assuredly that it has not posed any risk to me is the cold pressed coconut oil, because of its ability to handle sugar too, insulin resistance, a lot of things, especially when taken in small proportion. Just 1 teaspoon, don't say it's too small. It's able to fix it. But if you take 1 teaspoon and you feel it's not enough, you can add, you can increase it. You can increase it to almost a tablespoon and relax, cool down somewhere. It's going to settle it and stop it. That's what it does. I don't want to say a mean word about it. It stops it immediately. The last one that happened last week, it stopped it instantly. After the second one, I said, I'm not ready. I collected, when it was giving me that, this thing, quickly pick it and seal it up immediately. That was the end of it. And that has been helping me. I want those of you who are diabetic or having health challenges also to add it as some of the remedies that you can rely on in such critical conditions. Like I said, I do not intend to stay too long. I do not intend to stay too long. As promised, I'm not this is just one singular thing that I thought to share with us because of, what happened recently, and it becomes necessary, lest I forget it, to share with us that this is how one secret way to use cold pressed coconut oil to avert some life-threatening diarrhea in older adults. I'll be rounding it up here. Thank you for watching, and if you are just watching for the first time, don't forget to click the subscribe button, because I shall be bringing more tips like this your way. Thank you for watching, and keep staying healthy naturally. Yes, you're welcome, but I've already rounded up. I can't continue. Somebody have just come in now, but I cannot continue with it. I've already promised us that it won't take long. I'm hearing you. Let me hear you. You say what? Thumbs up, good coach. You say, I owe you recharge card. My sister, I thank you for all your support. I thank you for that. And that promise also. I know. I appreciate you all for coming. And I'll keep sharing tips, ideas, and such secrets that has helped me to stay out of no hospital for all these years. Thank you once again.